everyone, I am Tali J. Mendez. Welcome to our breast cancer info session. As a school community that fosters the development and growth of young women, we saw it fitting to have a discussion on the awareness of the ladies of the Academy as it relates to breast cancer and its affecting and how it affects us. At the end of today's discussion, we hope that you learned something new about breast cancer. We also want you to see that breast cancer is not just something we celebrate in October, but it are something that we wear pink for, but instead it is a serious sickness that can affect anyone, and we also want to continue showing our support to those who are affected. Now today our speaker is a graduate of the University of the West Indies who received a Bachelor in Medical Science and Surgery. She specializes in obstetrics and gynecology and has been a labor ward consultant at the University Hospital of the West Indies in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology since 2015. She is also an associate lecturer. She has even managed to produce manuscripts on advanced abdominal pregnancy and a random control trial of tranexamic acid for the reduction of blood loss in women undergoing cesarean section deliveries. On a personal note, she's down to earth, honest, and she cherishes her friendships. Now, today, our speaker is none other than Dr. Michelle Campbell Mitchell.
Thank you so much for having me, Talaje, and thank you for that wonderful welcome.
You're welcome, Mrs. Mitchell. Now, we're going to ask Mrs. Mitchell some questions. Right, so Dr. Mitchell, what causes breast cancer?
All right, so Talaje, there are no specific causes per se. However, there are a number of known risk factors. So for one, being female, because many times we forget that men too get breast cancer. They do, but way less than we do as women. Age is another risk factor. The older you get, the more at risk you are, particularly over the age of 50. Genetics, so you can have genes that predispose you or make it more likely for you to get breast cancer. If you have a personal or family history of breast cancer, those are also known risk factors. And obesity, which is quite common in our population, is also a known risk factor. Those are maybe the most common risk factors associated with breast cancer.
Thank you. I got a lot of information just now. So, Dr. Campbell, a lot of persons think that some person might be too young or too old to get breast cancer. Is that so? Can someone be too young or too old to have breast cancer?
Well, as mentioned before, advancing age is a risk factor, but it does not mean at all that young women can't get it, or young men, you know. Though it's way less common in the younger age group, it is still possible. So there is no too young to get it at all. Women as young as their 20s have been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay, interesting. So, Dr. Campbell, how can you lower your chance of getting breast cancer?
All right, so again, a number of things. For one, you want to have the healthiest possible diet that you can. And that ties into, of course, with obesity being a risk factor. The healthier you eat, the more likely it is that your weight will be normal, or less likely then that you'll be obese, to put it another way. So you want to cut down on your sugar intake, your processed food intake, and breast healthy foods are bright colored fruits and veggies. Anything with a bright color, that's an easy way to remember it. So things like blueberries, mangoes, pumpkins, those foods are very healthy for the breasts, right? Additionally, exercising regularly. The bare minimum recommended is 20 minutes each day, 3 times a week, right? You also want to cut down on your alcohol intake. You definitely don't want to smoke, right? Yeah, so those are the main preventative strategies for breast cancer.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. And I hope you guys are taking some notes because those are really interesting information. And I will have to start working on some of those as well.
That's
So,
okay, we
Dr.
all
Campbell,
do.
yeah, what are some symptoms of breast cancer?
All right, so I think everybody knows the lump in the breast story, right? But even before we get there, there can be some subtle or not so subtle initial or preliminary changes like skin changes. The skin can become swollen or appear what we call tethered, kind of the way that the peel of an orange would look. The skin can become red, it can become itchy. You can actually have a nipple discharge. So something coming from the nipple, especially if it's blood stained. If the nipple becomes retracted or everted, in other words, instead of pointing outward, it starts to point inward. Or if any one breast starts becoming bigger than the other, any kind of asymmetry, all of those plus the classic lump in the breast, those are all early signs or signs of breast cancer.
Wow, some of that information new to me, but I'm learning. I'm here learning as well. When should you start getting mammograms? Is it expensive?
All right, so different bodies recommend different start times for your mammograms. Here in Jamaica, though, because we see breast cancer generally so young comparatively to, say, other countries, and also our cancers tend to be a little bit more aggressive as well. We recommend that you start screening with mammograms as early as age 40, and to do so annually thereafter. Is it expensive? It is available at a highly subsidized cost at the Jamaica Cancer Society. I should be able to tell you the exact cost offhand, but I can't. I can tell you the cost at the university hospital, though, which is where I work. That charge is $9,000. So at the Cancer Society, it should be even less. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not terribly expensive, and it's certainly less expensive than treating cancer. So, that's just to put it into perspective.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Campbell. And I think persons can start getting their checkups on a regular as well.
They
to
should.
be sure, be careful, yes.
For sure.
Do you think the awareness campaigns have lessened the stigma associated with breast cancer?
Definitely. So, social media has a lot of negatives, but for sure, it also has a lot of positives. And so you can't really go on any social media platform and not see a reminder that October is Pinktober, or Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm trying to remember where I went maybe a week or so ago. Could have been the supermarket or something. And there was a gentleman in a pink hat, a pink shirt, a pink belt, a pink pants, and a pink shoes. So,
Wow.
you know, that is real awareness there. And so, yes, I think the increased awareness has definitely helped to lessen the stigma.
Dr. Campbell, I totally agree with you. The internet has helped in a lot of ways in terms of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you give to person who may feel uncomfortable about doing a breast self-examination?
Oh, well, I would advise every woman to get to know their breasts. Nobody should know your breasts better than you. And there should be no discomfort at all. It's another organ like your heart. You'd go to the doctor for your doctor to listen to your heart and make sure it's okay, or to listen to your lungs to make sure they're okay. But the great thing is your breasts are on the outside. So you can feel them and know, okay, this is my norm. And the whole idea is, God forbid, if something starts to become abnormal, then you should or could be the one to detect it first and raise your, concerns with your doctor.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. One last question. What do you have to say about to persons that may be suffering from breast cancer? Anything special you want to say to persons suffering?
What I have to say. You know, as with any cancer, really, early detection is key. So particularly those persons who are fighting, particularly if the fight started early, so to speak, meaning the detection was early, then it's definitely not a death sentence, but and even for those ladies who may have been diagnosed at a late stage, again, still not a death sentence. I mean, with advances in technology and the treatment options that we have available, women, have come out of it no longer suffering from breast cancer, but surviving breast cancer. Many, many of whom I know personally, and they go on to live full, healthy lives thereafter. So I would offer encouragement, to put it in one word.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell. I have learned a lot in this small amount of time that we have discussed. So, Dr. Campbell, we know that healthcare workers are really overwhelmed at this time. And so we especially grateful that you made the time to speak with us today. You have shared information that can save lives, and I have benefited from this conversation. Thank you. Thank you.
You're most welcome. My
and
pleasure.
And to our viewers that join us today, thank you for coming. Give hope, save lives, and continue to support the cause. Continue to support persons suffering from breast cancer. Encourage someone to be. And just remember, this has no stigma. Breast cancer can be for anyone. It is not for anyone special. And we just want to support those suffering from breast cancer. Thank you, thank you, thank you.